So I'm Lesley Ann, as I said earlier, so I'm going to be hosting this panel this afternoon. So thank you all very much for your beautiful films, and we have a wide range of countries on screen this afternoon. So I'd like you to introduce yourself to everyone.
Hello everyone, I'm very glad that everyone stay to the end. I'm Sylvia, director of the Wolf's Rush Coffee, which is the last film that we watched.
I'm Ryan, I was the writer-director of Making Up.
I'm James, I'm the editor on Mouse.
I'm Femi, I'm the cinematographer of Forgotten Shows.
I'm Frank, I'm the supporter of the 2023 Hong Kong Beyond Jimmy Lai.
Very cool. Can I ask each one of you, because we had a combination of fiction, documentary, and like I said, from all different parts of the world. Can you tell me why, what brought you to be involved in the film, whether it was you directing, possibly writer-director as well, being brought on board, what attracted you to the film?
I lived in Ethiopia for 10 years, so I'm very close to the culture, and also my family is Ethiopian, so that's why I know quite a lot. That's why I was very confident. The subject was introduced to me by executive producer Antene Mulu, and via discussion I was brought on the board. Wasn't easy, just because there's so much about the Ethiopian coffee. But we did this film, so I'm very happy to be on board. But I have to say, my previous films, looking back, there was always some kind of element of coffee in it, in a short scripted film, because this is my first documentary. Yeah.
I was just inspired to write a story, a self-contained story about a kind of family relationship, and there's a kind of a pub just down the road called the Old Ship in Limehouse, and it's got this great kind of eclectic crowd of like kind of old East End kind of community and like young queer people, and it was just an evening being there that kind of sparked the idea to kind of write it and then evolve it to what it became.
I've worked with Max for a couple of years on projects, and he gave me a script. It was just a really beautiful script about male relationships in a family, really, three generations. They were just really touching, and we've worked well together and jumped at the chance, really. Yeah, super pleased.
Yeah, for me, Nadine, who's been a friend for a while, called me someday and asked if I knew of the island St. Helena, which I happen to know. And she said, okay, what do you know about the island? Said, Napoleon was exiled there, and I know it's an old, an extinct volcano. And she said, you're the first DP I'm talking to that actually knows St. Helena. We're going to St. Helena. So that was how it came about, yeah.
Yeah, for me, the movie is about Jimmy Lai, and Jimmy Lai is he's very influenced me. He is the biggest media in Hong Kong. Is whole democracy, and everyone. Other ones, a lot of other ones is propaganda, but Jimmy Lai and Apple Daily is influenced me a lot, and he know the risk about after the Hong Kong security law, but he still he know the risk, but he still go to the risk, and yeah, obviously he in the jail at the moment. That's why we need to speak with him and fight for him.
And all of these themes had really powerful themes, you know, in every form of fashion. So maybe starting from this side, why did you choose this film to tell? Why was it important for you?
I'm not the director of the film. I'm just the supporter of the film. The director is still in Sydney at the moment. Yeah, as you know, in the film, Mark is the director, and Mark is when he was in the trial, he lived in Hong Kong at that moment. He know a lot. He see a lot of neon. It's very beautiful, and he think this is represent to Hong Kong SMS Jimmy Lai thinking, and at that time Hong Kong is very dynamic and very powerful, and people had this freedom of speech, and but now it's after the Chinese government took over the Hong Kong, everything is changed. A lot of media become propaganda, and obviously Jimmy Lai and Apple Daily is going to demolish and go to jail. Yeah, that's why he made a movie.
Okay, thank you. And isn't Helena close to your identity, telling those sort of stories impact you? Is that why you decided to come on board as deacon?
Yeah, in a certain way, yes. There's a connection there because I'm from West Africa. I'm from Nigeria, and we grew up knowing about slave trade and how people were taken from West Africa, Yoruba, and all those things, so like all around the country and Africa. But I never heard about the Middle Passage, which was St. Helena. All I knew about St. Helena was, Napoleon was exiled there. And even when you get on the island, that is quite prominent. Like outside that, you don't really know anything else. But when I heard what it was about, that we were going because they were facing some really dire need to get their stories out, So I jumped at the opportunity.
And I know as the editor, this is the second form of directing. You're the director of post. So how for you, what themes, if any, were really impactful for you, and what did you want to bring out and put your stamp on in that story?
I try not to give my stamp on the stories that I work on as much as I can. I try and bring out what's already there. So Matt's already started with a really great script, and we talked a lot as we were working on our relationships with our dads, just generally just the families, and it just became a kind of some sort of catharsis, I guess. It was already there, really. I mean, I just try and bring out the best of the material. The kid and the actors were great. Just try and step back and just let the work speak for itself. Just bring out the best in it.
Just wanted to, with a story, bring universal themes to a queer story of it being, about acceptance and the kind of nuance of like those relationships that aren't always binary or easy to kind of unify over. So just kind of a little snippet into someone's life about that struggle and that reconciliation.
I am absolutely in love with Ethiopia since the day I landed there in 2005 and stayed for 10 years. When it comes to the film, obviously it wasn't always only about the coffee. Coffee is a crop. But it's about the family ties, the connection between each other that we are losing in Western societies. And in Ethiopia, it still kind of exists in a very tangible way. And so that was me trying to convey the story about the coffee, which is cultural heritage and also bonding within the society, but also obviously about the climate change and how they are coping, in their own, very strong way of survival. Yeah.
And I can imagine that you all would have encountered several challenges. I mean, in filmmaking, there's always going to be a challenge. So maybe I'll ask you first, because yours is a period piece. What do you think for you was your biggest challenge you encountered?
Partly the period side, especially it's difficult in big productions, but because I work in TV as my kind of day job, I've worked on some big shows. There was one set in Victorian times, even then, where it was like 6 million an episode. They were struggling to kind of create. That's when you're on a shoestring and doing, trying to avoid cars in the frame. And also, I mean, it's kind of subtly set in winter, but we filmed on like the longest night of the summer in June, so like all those little bits. It went weirdly smoothly for a short film, but it was great to have a lovely team, you know, that really kind of championed it and made it as strong as it could be. But yeah, there's all the sorts of things you don't anticipate are usually what kind of creates the hiccup. But yeah, I'd say, sorry, long story short, the period side was quite difficult to kind of try and make it as strong as possible.
Does anybody have any other particular challenges that they encountered while on their sets?
Maybe not challenge, but going in St. Helena at the time, the first time we went twice. First time was in August 2022 to recce and maybe shoot some interviews, and they happened to just be coming out of COVID then. So when we went, planes are still quite limited. I think they're like once a week now, but it was twice a week then. So when we went in, we were marooned there for 15 days before we could come back out. I mean, you get used to that after a while, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I think the challenge is quite obvious that in Hong Kong social media, you cannot publish this kind of movie at the moment, and also even you have a slogan, you maybe go to the jail, or you will get some trouble by government, and this umbrella, this is very represented by the protest around the 2014 or 19 is about to support the freedom and against the evil law. But now is the challenge is you can't say that in Hong Kong or even in social media. Hong Kong government will demolish them, and you cannot see it. You still can use VPN to see it, but in Hong Kong inside you cannot see the voice, the different voice, like the neon. Nowadays is just one color. Before the 1997 is a lot of different color.
Any particular challenges for yourself?
Oh no, there was a lot of production side. The production side, my crew was amazing, so I can only say positive. Of course, there's all frictions, but they were just. We had amazing fixer, and everything was on crew side really amazing. It was very intense, obviously. I had one funny story. I can tell this now. You know, at the time, Ethiopia, every country was going through some sort of turbulences. So I was very well prepared on like a shot wise, and you know what we are doing. So I was like really like a soldier style. So that allowed us to do quite a lot of freestyling stuff. But part of this film was a drone, which I wasn't allowed to bring to the country. So. I smuggled in. So that's the funny story. I can tell this now, but honestly, when I think about it, because you know I could end up in jail, or maybe not in jail, but not allowed to enter to the country by law. So
he can hear you now.
Yeah, so I know. But at the time, you know, so I think it was my best Oscar performance at the airport, I have to say, I think the drone forever is gonna say in Ethiopia now. That's the destiny. So
I think as filmmakers we have all done an Oscar performance at one point in time or another. And yourself, in terms of the post-production element, was there anything particularly challenging that you might have encountered?
I'm just thinking back. The hardest scene was the one where the boy's reading the story. The dad's typing his eulogy to his dad. The mouse is, supposedly about to get killed, and that was really, really hard. I remember being quite scared of tackling that scene, because I was juggling these three different strands, and at a point in the film, it kind of all came to a head. There's a real potential turning point. It was really, really difficult getting that balance right.
And how do you think you work through that process to achieve it?
I think I cut each of those 3 strands separately, just kind of got the guts of it done, and then just threw them together. And that's really what you got to do sometimes. Is just throw it on the pot, you know, and just kind of have something to start with, and then go, you know, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. That works, and then you just start to mold, you know, kind of mold your clay, you know, just start to sculpt it. There's no way around it. Sometimes you just got to just chuck clay on the pot. Having said that, some of the other aspects of the scenes, some of the other scenes in the film were really, really easy. It just kind of came out as they were shot. The end speech was just really simple.
Mm-hmm.
So you just never know sometimes which ones are going to be hard, and which parts are going to be straightforward. But that was a hard scene.
Did you really squash a mouse?
What do you think?
I heard it squeak.
No, it was fine.
No,
All 5 of them were fine.
That's good. No mice were hurt in this film.
So I had a feeling that was going to be the first question.
Yes, I
that was
thought
gonna
so.
come. So just to round it off, and then we can open it up. It'd be great if everyone can share one really impactful thing, or one really memorable or happy thing from that they remember as part of their production and one of the film that took. No order, so please jump in.
I mean, in my case, was the Walter Yorodis Shavo that unfortunately passed away. And obviously we had this language barrier because he doesn't even speak Amharic, he speaks Kafinia, which is the local language. So I had communication with him via a translator, via the fixer. But I have to say, the energy of this old man was just something incredible. And so even I couldn't understand. I mean, obviously I was forming the questions and trying to. It was a little bit in the mist because, you know, there was no simultaneous translation. So it was really kind of like a series. I don't know exactly what's going on here on this set, and but his energy was so strong and so intense. So. We kind of reached the second level of communication. So I would say it was very spiritual. Yeah. And also, you know, himself, what he was doing, and his legacy in the circumstances of, you know, the countryside of Ethiopia. I think he's a real local hero. Yeah.
I think just the gratitude of it all. Like, I know it sounds a bit airy-fairy, but I think because it's so difficult to make any kind of production, and like everyone on screen and everyone off screen was just wonderful, and everyone got on. It was a really joyous experience, just the kind of getting through it and the relief of getting it all done, because there were so many different locations over the 4 days, and it was a genuinely really lovely experience. And the crew was like a family, so it was just holistically just the joy of that, really.
Just watching it in a cinema with people is always the best. Short films, drama short films especially, there's really nothing you really get out of it other than just screen it for people. It doesn't really have any monetary value, and you can't really sell it anywhere. You know, so and I did it for free. You know, everyone works on it for nothing. So it's really lovely to see it with people and just get a response and feel it in the air. It's just the best thing.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time thinking about like people of St. Helena since we left, and it's usually about the fact that the population right now is dwindling. Like, you have less than 5,000 people left on the island, and even by the time we went the second time, there's a shot in there where you have 2 girls at the coffee shop smiling. Those 2 have left, like, because when we're coming back, we saw them on the plane, like, oh yeah, dancing, and they are left, but moved to South Africa, and a lot of young people are leaving like older ones behind, and it's as a result of the fact that they're not getting aids, or like they're not getting the kind of jobs, or like things like when we were there, for instance, there was no internet really, and at some point we had to buy I think about 200 I think about 200 gig or 100 gig or something like that for £30. You know, and 100 gigs before you load WhatsApp, like that goes, you know. Sorry, megabytes. Sorry, megabytes, not gigs. So yeah, so like the youths don't know anything about the outside, and those that want to know are restricted in there, so they want to go out. So I think about that a lot, and I can only hope that the government here does the right thing by them, and hopefully they survive.
Yeah, for me is I think I'm very joyful to work with people that we don't know each other before, and but we have same direction and same thinking about the freedom of speech and the liberty, the democracy, and I'm very joyful to work with this kind of people.
Thank you so much. We're going to open it up. Does anyone want to ask a question about something like this afternoon? In the back?
It's a question for everybody. How did you finance it? Starting with Sylvia.
Oh, for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so that's a really pain. So this production has been mainly privately financed by executive director Antena Mulu. So really, he struggled financially just to finish this film, and I work for free just to reduce the expenses, and we did a couple of crowdfunding and like walking around and quotation mark begging for money, and but the fact is also especially when it comes to post-production, I was very lucky to work with amazing editor, so which kind of make this finishing of this film. I mean, we did the assembly, all the stuff within 6 weeks, so I think it's really 1 hour 20 film, and then I reduced it into 1 hour. So I think we were really working very hard, like online every day. And for instance, composers or anyone that came on board was more willingness to be part of this project than for money. Obviously, it's a good thing to pay people, but no one in this film was only for money. This is how I can say. But answering the question straightforward, that was mainly financed by executive producer.
Yeah, mine was self-funded, so to add to the mania of trying to make it 1980s, it's not the most straightforward thing to do. And but we had, likewise, like wonderful people coming on board for, doing it as a favour. The wigs were donated by a wonderful company called Lush Wigs. Like lots of little, it really adds to that kind of sense of, to say it again, but the gratitude of things when it's so difficult as it is to kind of get something off the ground. So,
Yeah, Max self-funded as well, and I think half the money came from his production company Rogue Films, where he works in the UK, and most of that money went into the production side of things, and I think he was saying post-production was all done in people's downtime, through the VFX, music, editing, grading, everything.
I'm just a DP. Don't bring me to the financial information.
No problem.
As I know, Mark using his own money to make this film, and we do have around 10 to 20 volunteers to support the film also.
It's very much a community effort all around. Yeah. Anyone else? No other questions?
Maybe critics.
Critics. Okay, let me see if I have one more question for you guys. If you had to choose one moment from another film that you saw this evening, what would it be? A favorite moment from someone else's film this evening?
Naming the mouth Squashy.
Yeah.
Tickles me a lot.
Anyone else?
I have to say, Santa Elena, I like the whole film.
Oh, thank you.
It was very steady and calm and single-minded message.
Oh, thank
There
you.
were stories, but it was just like a very kind of like a setting into the mood, you know, of something that is might be soon forgotten, and why it is so, it should not be. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Our editor is right there, Martini, of the St. Helena project. So I'll also give a lot of that feel back to him for finding a good pace with the director and putting that together. For me, I think it would be from your film as well. I'm a coffee lover, and it would be to sip one of those Ethiopian coffees. St. Helena has a very beautiful coffee as well, which whoever likes coffee should find a way to try. It's really nice.
Yeah, for me it's the transgender one. Yeah, I think it's very inspired. Yeah, like how to say that? It's not a karma, but it's like you do something and then you get better results.
Yeah, I learned a lot from the St. Helena film that I didn't know before, so that was quite eye-opening. As the other documentaries as well, and it was really lovely. What's the name of the lead actor?
Oh, Dave Johns.
Yeah, it was like great to see him.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he really loved it. He went for all the drag stuff.
Yeah, amazing. Can I ask you a question? How did you get him involved?
Just contacted his agent and connected with the material, and and it took ages to get. We wrote it in 2018 and filmed it oh God, my mind's shot from the pandemic. But the last couple of years, so we tried to get off the ground a few times, but because of the pandemic and everything, because he connected to it for a while, which is really lovely that we managed to follow
Just take
that.
a chance, right? Just
Yeah,
take a chance. You
definitely.
never know.
Yeah, don't ask them. Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Well, I certainly learned a lot from all of your points, and they were all beautiful. So thank you very much, and thank you all for attending.